Imagine this: you meet someone and you barely remember their words, but you can't forget how they made you feel in that moment. That's the secret to presence. It isn't about saying the perfect lines or memorizing some magical script. It's about the emotional imprint you leave on her heart and mind. Every woman you encounter is living in a world full of noise, distractions, and shallow interactions. If you want her to think about you long after you've walked away, you need to become the one man who stands out not by trying too hard, but by creating an emotional connection that lingers. When a woman is around you, she isn't just paying attention to your words, she's tuned into your energy, your vibe, your aura. Think about it: your tone of voice, your eye contact, the way you make her laugh or spark curiosity, that's what creates chemistry. A simple conversation about ordinary topics can turn into something unforgettable if it's delivered with playfulness, depth, and authenticity. Presence is not about performance, it's about impact. If she feels something powerful when she's with you, whether it's excitement, safety, attraction, or inspiration, you've already separated yourself from the rest. Most men fail at this because they operate like everyone else. They ask the same questions, give the same compliments, and follow the same boring patterns. That's why women forget them as soon as they leave. But when you make her feel something unique, something she doesn't experience with others, that's when her mind starts replaying moments with you, even when you're not around. She may not even understand why, but she'll catch herself smiling when she remembers your jokes, or wondering what you're doing when she feels the echo of your energy. That is the addiction you're creating, not to your presence physically, but to the emotions tied to your presence. Now, let me be very clear. This doesn't mean you try to manipulate emotions. It's not about faking stories or pretending to be someone you're not. That never lasts. Women are highly intuitive. They sense insincerity quickly. What actually works is being intentional with how you carry yourself. When you share your passion about something you truly care about, she feels the fire in you. When you listen to her with genuine curiosity instead of waiting for your turn to speak, she feels understood in a world where most men don't even hear her. When you tease her lightly with confidence and humor, she feels playful and alive. These are emotional experiences, and they're far more powerful than anything material. Think about the most addictive songs you've ever heard. It's not the words alone, it's the rhythm, the melody, the way it makes your body react without permission. In the same way, when you show up with energy that makes her feel different, whether it's excitement, curiosity, or comfort, you become the rhythm in her mind she can't turn off. She might be at work, at home, or even with her friends, but her mind will wander back to you because you've given her something that triggers an emotional response. The beauty of mastering emotional impact is that it doesn't require you to be perfect. You don't have to have model looks, millions in the bank, or a flawless personality. What you need is awareness, awareness of how your presence affects others, and the discipline to shape that effect with intention. If you walk into a room with energy that is alive, grounded, and confident, people notice. If you speak in a way that brings out emotions rather than just exchanging information, you stand out. And when you make her feel a mix of safety and excitement, like she can relax around you but also feel thrilled at the same time, you've given her a cocktail of emotions that she'll chase again and again. Let me share something most men overlook: consistency. One night of charm isn't enough. One deep conversation isn't enough. If you want her addicted to your presence, you need to weave emotional impact into every encounter. That doesn't mean being intense all the time. It means being memorable every time. Maybe one day it's making her laugh until her cheeks hurt. Another day it's listening so deeply she opens up about something she never tells anyone. Each of those moments is a brick in the foundation of emotional addiction. Slowly, without forcing it, you become the one man she associates with powerful feelings. And here's the paradox: the less you chase that reaction, the more natural it becomes. If you're too focused on impressing, her, you'll come across as needy. But if you focus on simply being present, really present, she feels it. Look at her when she speaks. Don't just nod, actually hear her. Be playful, but don't be afraid of silence. Sometimes the most powerful moments happen not when you're saying something clever, but when you're simply there, radiating calmness and certainty. That balance between energy and ease is what women crave but rarely find. So understand this. Making a woman addicted to your presence starts with mastering emotional impact. It's not about proving yourself, it's about creating experiences she can't forget. The moment she associates you with feelings she doesn't get anywhere else, you've already won. Because presence isn't about being seen, it's about being felt. Confidence is the one quality that silently speaks louder than anything you could ever say. It's the invisible force that makes a woman notice you without you even trying. You see, presence doesn't start with her, it starts with you. Before you can ever make her addicted to your presence, you must first be addicted to your own. A man who walks into a room unsure of himself, doubting his worth second, guessing every move, is invisible. But a man who walks in with certainty, not arrogance, but a calm assurance in who he is, instantly shifts the atmosphere. That's the kind of confidence that doesn't have to be announced, it's felt. What women crave is not a perfect man, but a man who owns himself completely. A man who stands in his truth, who doesn't shrink in the face of judgment, who doesn't need validation to feel worthy. When you embody that kind of confidence, she can't help but be drawn in. Because deep down, every woman is wired to be attracted to strength, not just physical strength, but emotional, mental, and spiritual strength. A man who knows who he is becomes a safe anchor in a world full of uncertainty. Most men misunderstand confidence. They think it's about being loud, flashy, or dominant. They mistake ego for strength. But true confidence isn't about trying to prove yourself. It's about not needing to. It's the difference between a man who brags about what he has and a man who carries himself so effortlessly that everyone can tell he doesn't need to prove anything. That's magnetic. That's what makes her pay attention. A confident man doesn't fear silence in a conversation. He doesn't panic when there's a pause. He knows his presence alone is enough to fill the space. He doesn't crumble when challenged, nor does he seek to win approval through desperate gestures. He is rooted, like a tree that doesn't sway with every passing wind. And when a woman senses that rootedness, she feels safe, she feels intrigued, and she feels the pull to be closer. Confidence also comes from alignment. When your words, actions, and values line up, there is no contradiction in you. That's why confidence cannot be faked long term. You can try to posture, but eventually cracks will show. Real confidence comes from doing the work on yourself, from knowing your purpose, from being disciplined, from overcoming challenges that shaped you into someone strong. It's the quiet power of a man who knows he has survived storms and can handle whatever comes his way. Ask yourself, do you believe in your own value? Because if you don't, no amount of charm, money, or looks will make her addicted to your presence. Women sense insecurity like a sixth sense. You can smile, talk, or even dress well, but if deep inside you don't believe in your worth, she will feel it. The opposite is also true. If you know your value, you don't have to prove it, you radiate it. And that's the kind of energy that makes her lean in closer, wondering what makes you so sure of yourself. The beauty of unshakable confidence is that it makes you unpredictable. When a man is insecure, he's easy to read because everything he does revolves around seeking approval. But a confident man doesn't play by anyone's script. He knows he can walk away if something doesn't serve him, and that attitude of detachment is intoxicating. Women find themselves wanting to win the attention of such a man, not because he asks for it, but because his confidence demands it. Let me tell you something powerful. Confidence makes ordinary men extraordinary. You don't need to be the best looking guy in the room. You don't need to be the richest. You don't need to have all the answers. But if you stand tall, if you carry yourself like a man who belongs, if you speak with clarity and believe in your words, you will outshine men who have more on the outside but lack confidence. Within, women are drawn to men who make them feel secure and alive at the same time, and that's exactly what confidence does. And it's not just about women. Confidence will change how the world treats you. When you respect yourself, people respect you. When you set boundaries, people honor them. When you live with certainty, others are influenced by your energy. Confidence is contagious, and the woman who encounters that will not only feel attracted, she will feel inspired. She will want to be part of the life of a man who moves with conviction and courage. But remember this, confidence is not perfection. You will still make mistakes. You will still stumble. But a confident man doesn't collapse when he fails, he learns. He adjusts, he grows. That resilience is what makes him untouchable. Women don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with strength, with the man who rises again and again no matter what happens. So if you want her addicted to your presence, stop looking outward and start building inward. Build the kind of confidence that doesn't need applause, doesn't chase validation, and doesn't crumble under pressure. Because when you know who you are and you carry that with unshakable certainty, you become unforgettable. One of the biggest mistakes men make with women is thinking that giving her constant attention will make her want them more. They believe that by being overly available, by always answering instantly, by constantly reassuring her, they're proving how much they care. But here's the truth, predictability kills attraction. If she knows exactly what you're going to do, if she can read every move before you make it, then there's no excitement, no curiosity, no spark. And without those things, your presence becomes ordinary. To make a woman truly addicted to your presence, you must embrace mystery. Mystery doesn't mean being secretive in a negative way. It doesn't mean playing childish games or creating unnecessary drama. It's about maintaining an element of unpredictability that keeps her guessing, keeps her intrigued, and keeps her wanting more. Think about it. Why do people binge watch shows? Because every episode ends leaving them curious about the next. That anticipation is addictive. And when you create that same anticipation in your interactions with a woman, she'll crave your presence the way people crave the next episode of their favorite series. When you're predictable, she knows she already has you. There's no challenge, no chase, no excitement. But when you balance attention with space, when you give her just enough to feel your presence but not so much that she takes it for granted, you create tension. And tension is the heartbeat of attraction. It makes her wonder what you'll do next. It makes her question how much of you she really has, and it makes her value the moments you give her even more. Mystery is powerful because it awakens her imagination, and the imagination is where desire grows. If you're always texting, always calling, always available, she doesn't get a chance to think about you. But when you step back just a little, her mind starts to fill in the gaps. She starts wondering what you're doing, who you're with, what's on your mind. That curiosity builds emotional momentum, and without even realizing it, she's thinking about you more than she planned to. That's the effect of being unpredictable. It makes her addicted, not because you're forcing it, but because her own mind is working in your favor. But here's the balance you must master. Being mysterious is not the same as being distant. If you withdraw completely, she won't feel intrigued. She'll feel rejected. Mystery works only when combined with genuine connection. You give her glimpses of your world, you let her feel your energy, but you never reveal everything at once. Think of it like unwrapping a gift. The excitement comes from peeling away layers, not from seeing it all in one instant. If you rush to give everything up front, there's nothing left for her to discover. But if you reveal yourself gradually, piece by piece, she stays hooked, always wanting more. Mystery also comes from depth. A man who has layers, who isn't just defined by one thing, becomes magnetic. When you have passions, interests, ambitions, and experiences that she doesn't know about yet, you automatically create intrigue. You don't have to say everything at once. Let her discover who you are through time. Let her realize that every time she thinks she knows you, there's another side she hasn't seen yet. That's how you keep her guessing, that's how you keep her engaged, and that's how you build an addiction to your presence. And don't underestimate the power of silence. Sometimes the most mysterious thing you can do is not rush to fill every gap with words. Let her wonder what you're thinking. Let her feel the weight of your pause. When you're comfortable with silence, it shows her you're not desperate to prove yourself, and that alone makes you more intriguing. Most men are uncomfortable with pauses. They talk endlessly to avoid awkwardness. But a man who is at ease with silence radiates confidence and mystery at the same time. Another element of mystery is unpredictability in your actions. Don't always do what she expects. Maybe you surprise her with spontaneity. Maybe you change up the rhythm of your communication. Maybe you take her places she's never been instead of sticking to the usual routines. Unpredictability makes every encounter feel alive. It makes her look forward to being around you because she never knows what experience awaits. And the more she feels that excitement, the more she becomes addicted to your presence. Now, understand this clearly. Mystery isn't about manipulation. It's not about creating confusion or playing hard to get for the sake of ego. It's about authenticity with restraint. You are real, you are genuine, but you're not desperate to expose every detail of your life just to impress her. You let her discover you naturally, and in that process, you become unforgettable. So many men rush the process because they fear losing her. They think if they don't give her everything right away, she'll slip away, but the opposite is true. When you pace yourself, when you hold back just enough, when you create space for her to wonder and miss you, that's when she clings tighter. That's when she realizes you're not like the others. And the beauty of being mysterious is this: it never gets old. As long as you keep growing, as long as you keep evolving as a man, there will always be new sides of you to reveal. That's the secret to keeping her hooked not just for weeks or months, but for years. You don't have to reinvent yourself, you just have to stay committed to your growth. Because the more layers you develop, the more layers she will want to discover. A man without a sense of purpose drifts, and when he drifts, he becomes forgettable. But a man with direction, with vision, with a fire that drives him forward, he becomes magnetic. You see, women are not just drawn to men because of looks or charm. Those things may catch her eye for a moment, but what keeps her attention, what makes her want to be part of your life, is when she sees that you are living for something bigger than her, and even bigger than yourself. Presence without purpose is shallow, but presence with purpose becomes unforgettable. When you live with vision, you carry an energy that cannot be faked. It's in the way you speak about your dreams, the way you move with determination, the way you refuse to be distracted by meaningless things. That energy is powerful, and it pulls people toward you without you even trying. A woman doesn't want to feel like she is your entire world, because if she is, it means your world is too small. What excites her, what draws her in, is when she realizes she can be part of a man's life who is already full, already driven, already going somewhere. Think about it. Why do women feel drawn to men who are leaders, visionaries, builders, creators? Because purpose is rare. Most people live passively, waiting for life to happen to them, but a man who decides who he wants to be, where he wants to go, and then starts moving in that direction, radiates strength. And strength is irresistible. When she sees you're not easily swayed, when she sees you're focused on your mission, when she sees you choose long-term vision over temporary distractions, she feels both safe and inspired. But let me be clear, purpose doesn't mean chasing money alone. Money is important, but purpose goes deeper. Purpose is about becoming the man you were meant to be, about building something meaningful, about making an impact, about living with standards and discipline. It could be your career, your craft, your health, your values, or the difference you want to make in the world. Whatever it is, when you commit to it fully, it becomes a part of your presence. A woman feels that fire in you. She sees that you are not wasting your life, and that makes her respect you on a level far beyond physical attraction. And here's the interesting part: when you are truly focused on your purpose, you stop chasing. You're not desperate for her attention. You're not anxious if she doesn't respond right away, because your mission comes first. That very detachment makes you more desirable. The paradox is this: when she realizes you don't need her to feel complete, that's when she starts wanting to be part of your world even more. Because now she sees you as a man of value, a man who doesn't bend his path just to please her, but invites her to walk alongside him if she can keep up. Purpose also gives you resilience. Life will test you, women will test you, the world will test you. Without purpose, you'll crumble under pressure. But with purpose, you can handle rejection, setbacks, and obstacles without losing yourself. That stability is incredibly attractive because it shows her you're not fragile, you're not lost, you're not easily broken. And every woman, deep down, is drawn to the man who can stand strong through storms. Another thing most men overlook is that purpose sharpens your confidence naturally. You don't have to fake confidence when you know you're building something real. Every small win, every disciplined step, every achievement fuels your inner certainty. And that certainty shows in the way you carry yourself. It shows in your eyes, in your posture, in the way you make decisions. When you know where you're going, you don't need approval. You don't need to impress. You simply live in alignment, and that alignment makes you magnetic. Now imagine the difference between two men. One spends his days aimlessly scrolling, wasting time, doing nothing that adds value to his life. The other wakes up with clarity, invests in his growth, builds his craft, moves with ambition. Which one do you think she'll remember? Which one do you think she'll chase? Women are naturally drawn to the man on a mission because being around him makes her feel part of something greater than herself. His presence uplifts her, challenges her, excites her, and makes her feel like she's with someone extraordinary. And the beauty is, when you're a man with purpose, you don't even have to talk about it all the time. She sees it in your lifestyle, in your discipline, in the consistency of your actions. You don't have to announce it. Your vision is visible in the way you live. That's the kind of presence that stays on her mind. That's the kind of presence she doesn't forget, because every time she's with you, she feels that she's in the company of someone going somewhere. So if you truly want her addicted to your presence, don't make her your purpose. Make your life your purpose. Build your vision, chase your mission, live with fire. And when you do, she won't just want to be around you. She'll fight to stay in your orbit, because presence with purpose is the most irresistible force a man can ever carry. Most men believe the way to win a woman over is by giving her constant affection, by showering her with attention, by always being available no matter what. They think the more they give, the more she'll value them. But what usually happens is the opposite. Too much affection without balance turns into suffocation. It makes her comfortable, it makes her feel secure, but it doesn't make her crave you. If she knows she already has all of you without any effort, there's no reason for her to fight for your presence. That's why the most powerful dynamic is the balance between affection and detachment. Affection is necessary. You can't build connection without showing warmth, care, and appreciation. A woman should feel that when she is with you, she is valued, she is seen, and she matters. But that affection becomes addictive only when it's paired with the possibility of losing it. When she knows you're capable of giving love, but also capable of walking away if you're not respected, that's when she holds on tight. The paradox is simple. When you're willing to let go, she becomes the one unwilling to lose you. This balance works because it triggers two sides of her psychology. Affection satisfies her need for safety, for reassurance, for emotional closeness. Detachment triggers her need for desire, for challenge, for earning your presence. Without affection, she feels unloved. Without detachment, she feels no urgency to keep you. Together, they create tension, the kind of tension that makes her think about you constantly, wonder where she stands, and fight for your attention. Think about it like fire. Too much oxygen and the flame burns out, too little and it dies. But the right balance keeps it alive, strong, and lasting. That's exactly how affection and detachment work in relationships. If you overwhelm her with attention, she'll eventually take you for granted. If you starve her of affection, she'll feel unwanted and disconnect. But when you master the balance, when you give her warmth yet maintain the strength to pull back, she becomes hooked on that dynamic. She feels the depth of your care, but also the strength of your independence, and that is irresistible. The problem is most men lean too far to one side. Some become overly attached, clinging to her, fearing that if they don't constantly prove themselves, they'll lose her. This kills attraction fast. Others swing to the opposite extreme, acting cold, distant, and detached all the time, thinking that makes them strong. That doesn't build connection, it just pushes her away. The true power lies in knowing when to lean in and when to lean back, when to give and when to withhold, when to hold her close and when to let her miss you. And here's the truth: detachment isn't about playing games. It's not about pretending you don't care when you do. Detachment is about self-respect. It's about showing her that you value yourself enough not to tolerate disrespect, inconsistency, or being taken for granted. You're not afraid of losing her because you know your worth. That's the kind of man who becomes addictive. She knows you care deeply, but she also knows you're strong enough to walk away if she doesn't meet your standard. That balance creates a powerful tension she can't escape. Women don't consciously admit it, but they crave the man who doesn't make himself too easy. Not because they want games, but because they want to feel they've earned him. If you give her love without limits, without boundaries, she won't value it. But if you give her love that is deep, genuine, and paired with standards, she'll treasure it like nothing else. Because now she knows, it can't just be taken, it must be kept. And here's what makes this so effective. When you step back at times, she leans forward. When you create space, she feels the urge to fill it. When you're not constantly available, she realizes how much she misses your presence. That absence becomes powerful because it makes your presence feel even more valuable. It's the contrast between the two that creates the addiction. She can't get enough of you because you're not giving yourself an unlimited supply. Remember this: the man who is too soft gets ignored, the man who is too hard gets avoided, but the man who masters balance gets desired. He knows how to give her the affection that makes her feel loved and the detachment that makes her fight for him. He's not desperate for her validation, yet he's not afraid to show his care. He's strong enough to stand alone, but open enough to let her in. That duality is rare, and that's why it's powerful. So don't aim to be the man who never shows affection, and don't be the man who drowns her in it. Aim to be the man who gives it with intention, who knows when to step forward and when to step back. Because when you master that art, you create a push and pull so magnetic, so intoxicating, that she won't be able to get you out of her mind.